There you go. What a show last night in Washington, D.C. From President-elect for 5 more hours, technically 4 hours and 54 minutes. Donald Trump put on a show at a great facility in Washington, D.C., basically where the Capitals play, the Wizards play, indoor arena that was absolutely on fire. And that is because the long national nightmare of the Joe Biden administration is coming to an end. And it will officially come to an end at 11:59 a.m. Eastern time this morning, 10:59 a.m. Central time. And man, the countdown is officially on. So you had Donald Trump step in front of 20,000 roaring fans last night. And I couldn't help but think about the roller coaster of the last 4 years. And I got to imagine for many of you, you've got a similar feeling right now. 4 years ago, did you ever expect this moment to happen? Where Donald Trump was going to be back in the White House. With the way his first term ended, with all the chaos, with the January 6th nonsense, with everything that happened at the end of his term. Did you ever foresee a path that the comeback kid, and that's what he had been for much of his private life, in business, in media, the comeback kid, would he ever complete what is arguably one of the largest comebacks in American history, John?
You know, this is not to doubt him, I don't think, but I would imagine for anybody, I'm thinking after those 4 years, who would want to come back?
Well, that is a fair point as well.
You know, it's like, dude, I did this for no pay.
Yeah.
I'm getting beat up
yes.
left and right. The missus doesn't need this.
She doesn't like it.
I don't need this.
I don't need it.
Right.
Half the country hates me.
So that part is the one where I would say 4 years ago, I'm thinking along that lines, like, who wants this headache?
Well, I'll just go back and I'll play some golf. I'll live my life. But Trump wasn't done. He wanted to finish the job. But I think that's what a lot of this is. Donald Trump wanted to finish the job. Yes, there was a legal element to it as well, but he saw a job that was frankly ruined by COVID, which he could not control. And he said, I've got things I still need to do based on promises I made to the American people.
And they went and made it personal.
Exactly. And then they took it to the next level. Instead of letting Donald Trump sail off into the sunset, their hatred for the man led them to go after him in court, use the Department of Justice, use New York City huckster prosecutors to try to ruin his life, to bankrupt him and spend the rest of his life in courtrooms. And it wasn't looking good a couple of years ago. Wasn't looking certainly as rosy as it is right now. But you thought to yourself, there's a path here. There's a chance. This thing can turn around. He can get this thing back on track.
You said rosy.
Yeah. And not only did he do that, he did it very effectively. Not only did he come back and win, he won the popular vote. Not only did he win the election, he won it by more than he did in 2016 and took 7 out of 7 on the swing states. It is the ultimate comeback story for Donald Trump. And as we sit here this morning, just after 6 o'clock in Kansas City, and we're counting down on what's going to be a great event today at Ray's Cafe. If you're on the RSVP list, we will see you out there for the watch party. It is first come, first serve. The event is full, though, so if you are not on the RSVP list, you'll have to catch us at another event because this thing is going to be packed. It is going to be 4 years of poor and overspending by our government. It is going to be 4 years of awful foreign policy where you had the worst actors on the planet have zero respect for our leadership. It is going to be 4 years of a guy who claimed he was going to be moderate, be anything but moderate. Joe Biden's term in office made Barack Obama look like Ronald Reagan. That's what this guy did on the policy front. And now we all know he wasn't even really there. Somebody was pulling the strings. Somebody was running the show. And if there was one final nail in the coffin for the mainstream media's credibility, it was the past 4 years. It was bad enough, right? Under Trump, you knew. I mean, the cat was out of the bag at that point. They had no interest in covering the American political environment in a fair, honest way. But then the way they protected Joe Biden, the way they insisted, if you questioned whether or not this guy lost his fastball, well, what's wrong with you? He's faster than he's ever been. They told you not to believe your lying eyes. That's basically what they said. And they have sunken themselves. Now, that being said, I may have to pop on MSNBC today for a good chuckle here and there. That might be worth it. That could be very entertaining television at some point this afternoon. I don't think we'll put it on at the watch party today, although if we need a yuck fest, we might have to do it. But they have sunken themselves once and for all. MSNBC has lost half its viewership in the last couple of months alone. That's not an accident. And in fact, you had Saturday Night Live making fun of MSNBC. If I told you 4 years ago, that in 4 years, let's say, you will have SNL ripping MSNBC, you will have Donald Trump back in the White House, you will have this man winning the popular vote, winning all 7 swing states, you would have asked where I got dropped on my head. That's what you would have said to me, right?
Been to the dispensary, Pete?
Yeah, exactly. I went to the Missouri side. I bought all the marijuana I could, and I just
some gummies.
lit the whole thing on fire and, stuck myself in a sauna for 2 days while I did it. That's what you would have thought. And instead, it is the reality of what Americans elected, we elected, you elected 2.5 months ago, as Donald Trump is set to be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States. Now, Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas goofed on this show last week that the only way he was going to get to D.C., of course, or at least to the White House in the next 4 years, is if the Chiefs win a Super Bowl. And they took one step closer to doing just that on Saturday, beating the Houston Texans. Now, you bring up the showdown with the Buffalo Bills. Of course, that will be Sunday at 5:30 at Arrowhead Stadium. 7th straight AFC championship for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we also know that our man and good friend, Generald freaking Wilson, I gave him that nickname, is going to be the national anthem singer on Sunday before the game, and he is going to be on the show this morning at 8:05.
Woo!
Let's go!
GFW.
Let's go! GFW. Generald freaking Wilson, baby. I cannot wait to get that guy on the show this morning. It is a Red Monday nationally here in Kansas City for a multitude of reasons. That Red Monday meaning takes on a whole new phrase today. It is Inauguration Day, and we will have you covered for the next 4 hours here on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio. Coming up, what do you do? Do you save TikTok or not? Donald Trump has made a decision on that. It is going to be one of the first big decisions out of the gates. And I get what he's going for, but I can't sit here and tell you I think this is a slam dunk for him and the administration. We'll get to why and you at 913-408-7957 on KCMO Talk Radio. It is Inauguration Day in Washington, D.C., and we are so glad you are joining us this morning on 95.7 FM KCMO. You will hear Dan Bongino, as you do each and every day, at 11 o'clock when the inauguration is set to begin. Dan is expected to be carrying much of at least the important stuff from the inauguration. If there's something you're missing, we'll make sure you get to it and you hear it here on KCMO. So we'll be dipping in and out of the Bongino show today, and that's what Dan will be planning for as well. Now, one of the first big things that Donald Trump is expected to sign into law is an executive order expanding the time before the TikTok law takes effect. Now, if you are a TikTok user, you may have popped on the app over the weekend and realized it doesn't work. Now, I have used TikTok very sparingly. I don't have a personal one. I just have one that you can kind of open and look at and see what's going on there. But it's not something I use with any kind of regularity. So I went on there, and I saw that as of Saturday morning, it was closed. You couldn't get on it. You got a little message that said, hey, this has been shut down. We're hoping that by working with President Trump, we can bring TikTok back. Now it's back. So TikTok, you can open up and you can use it. At least I just tried, and it looks like it works. But with that being said, Trump says he wants to get 50% American ownership of TikTok to avoid the ban that, of course, passed Congress and was signed into law by Joe Biden. And trust me, today's a day of celebration. I'm excited for today. Donald Trump is going to come to office. The executive orders are going to reverse a lot of the stupid things that Joe Biden decided to do 4 years ago that made this country less safe and less prosperous. But this one, I'm having a difficult time getting behind. This one, I can't wrap my arms around and say, yeah, this is a great idea. Because what appears to be going on here is that for some people, because I put up on X over the weekend, I was like, why are we bothering with this? Why are we trying to make sure TikTok has the ability to do business and run its operations here in the United States? And the fact that they don't want to sell to an American company tells me all I need to know about how valuable they see TikTok from the standpoint of gathering data on Americans, pushing algorithms on Americans that make them dumber and weaker. And they are being offered tens of billions of dollars to sell, and they're not going to do it, which tells me all I need to know about their purpose as an operation and how they view TikTok, which, by the way, the TikTok that ByteDance, the parent company out of China, runs in America is different from the app that they have in China. The app that they have in China is like a learning app for their kids. The one they operate here in the U.S. is a joke. And that's the nicest way to put it. It's an app that all it does is obviously, take kids down nasty rabbit holes that is not healthy for their mind or body. That's all it does here in the U.S. But for some, it seems like it's now the position that the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, has a First Amendment right to control a propaganda vehicle inside the U.S. that is clearly a national security threat. And I don't agree with that. And I don't know why Trump would want to play nice on this issue out of the gates. I know it's all about deal making to Donald Trump. That's what he is. He's a deal maker. He's a businessman. And I respect that. That's what's made him very good at this job, at least the first 4 years. But this one, I'm like, I think there's a part of him that thinks, hey, I've got young people moving towards me, moving towards the Republican Party. That's a good thing. I want to give them a win. I want to look like the political hero. But I don't think it's going to matter anyway. For a lot of these far-left kooks on social media, you think suddenly they're going to be like, you know what? Trump brought back TikTok. I like this guy. No, they are so wrapped up in their warped reality. That's not going to make the big difference for them. That's not going to be the thing that matters. So I'd love to be wrong here, John, but I'm not getting this.
I'm with you, right? You have the videos where people are outside their car or something while it's rolling down the street.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, during a blizzard, we have somebody bail out of their car. I wonder where they got the idea.
Yeah, right here in Kansas City, someone going viral for that.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, there is some of that has to be brought up into the conversation here. You just have some of the worst ideas ever. On the text line, 913-408-7957. Pete, there's got to be something that Donald Trump is angling for here beyond the young voters. I don't think there is. Now, maybe he's trying to get his buddy Kevin O'Leary, who's, of course, Mr. Wonderful, who's got apparently a $20 billion offer on the table to buy TikTok. Maybe he's trying to help Mr. Wonderful get a deal, in which case, fine. But I don't want the Chi-Coms having any ownership in any major social media platform that is used here in the United States. Not one. They don't deserve it. They are the enemy of America. And if your argument is, well, this is infringing on our First Amendment rights, there are a million social media apps out there for you to make goofy videos, for you to talk about how you're a, dude becoming a chick or vice versa. Like, trust me, you can do that on any other platform that's American owned and operated. This notion of you can't take away my free speech, this is not about your free speech. It's not. It's about whether or not we are allowing our enemies to control social media platforms in the United States? That's the question. 913-408-7957. It is great to be here with you on an Inauguration Monday on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Am I seeing this right? Let me see if this is breaking news here. Yep. Joe Biden, breaking news in the last 10 minutes, has pardoned Anthony Fauci. Wow. There you go. Joe Biden preemptively pardoning Dr. Fauci, members of Congress and staff who served on the January 6th Select Committee, U.S. Capitol and D.C. Metropolitan Police officers who testified before that committee, and General Mark Milley.
He's got that thing framed and up on his wall by his portrait now, too, already.
Yes, right? He does. Wow. There you go. Dr. Fauci got his pardon. I didn't think anything was going to happen to the guy anyway, but nothing shocks me anymore.
Nothing says guilty like a Biden pardon.
Hours before he's set to leave. Hours before he's set to leave. Oh, my gosh. What a great day for America. He's got the Kid Rock bumping. Is this the song that Kid Rock played at the RNC, American Badass?
Yes, that was it.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man.
It was the Undertaker's theme song for many years in the WWE.
Oh, was it?
And
the old
fist
WWE
was up in the air every time when Undertaker would come out, just like Trump after he got shot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You were a diehard WWF guy back in the day.
I was like 97 to 2001. That was my wheelhouse.
That was your wheelhouse of WWF fandom before it became the WWE?
Yep.
Okay, nice. I was into it a little bit in the early 2000s. Not as much as Mark, remembering the Undertaker's theme song coming out, but that's great. Well, Trump, no doubt, American Badass, as he gets going today at 11 o'clock Central Time. It is going to be a great day. We are glad you are here with us on KCMO. Breaking news in the last 5 minutes. Joe Biden has pardoned Dr. Anthony Fauci, members of the January 6th committee, Mark Milley, and others who testified in front of the January 6th committee. So this is a story that is unfolding right now. Just happened 10 minutes ago. As you start off your Inauguration Monday morning, of course, it's Dr. Martin Luther King Day as well. And this clip from moments ago, here's our old U.S. Senator, Claire Bear McCaskill from Missouri, now MSNBC contributor, reacting to these pardons and her spin on it. Let's roll.
Yeah, it makes me sad. Yeah. It makes me sad. First of all, it sets a precedent. Can you imagine the list 4 years from now?
Oh, my gosh.
Not good.
And hold on. Pause it. Claire McCaskill reacts to Joe Biden pardoning the January 6th committee and Anthony Fauci by saying, just wait to see the list in 4 years. That's your takeaway, Claire? That is your gut reaction to what Joe Biden is doing hours before he is set to leave office? Well, just imagine what Trump's list is going to look like. My gosh, do you have no shame?
You'll never make The View, Claire. Give it up.
Give it up. Trying so hard, our former Missouri U.S. Senator, now MSNBC contributor. Let's keep rolling.
It shows that we have gotten to the point that we no longer trust the institutions of our courts to fairly administer the laws. Because I think the people who say I don't want a pardon are saying that because they know factually there is no evidence to do anything to them. So I get it, and I'm not being critical of the president for doing it, but it's sad. It is very, very sad, and it's another blow to the institution of rule of law in this country.
All right, that was Claire McCaskill just moments ago on MSNBC reacting to this news. Can you believe she represented one of our states for years in the United States Senate? And before that, of course, here in Jackson County. My goodness. What she is saying, basically, what you are hearing there from Claire McCaskill is, well, this really isn't supposed to this should not go this way, says Claire McCaskill. It shouldn't be like this, says Claire McCaskill. But, Orange Man bad, Donald Trump, we have no choice. That's the reaction from Claire McCaskill. These people did nothing wrong, but it's Trump, so we have to do it. They are picking up right where they left off, which is to basically take every norm that is broken by one of them and say, but Trump. We don't have a choice. These are unprecedented times. So we must do everything we can to protect our people. Now, honestly, do I think that Donald Trump was going to do anything with Dr. Fauci? No. Frankly, I think that Trump wants to forget COVID. He didn't handle it perfectly. Now, granted, it was a once-in-a-century situation and pandemic that no one could have really been all that prepared for. There was no playbook on how to deal with it. But I don't think Trump wants to think at all about COVID. Now, the January 6th stuff, he said it and J.D. Vance has said it. They will pardon folks who were nonviolent that day. If you committed an act of violence, different story. That seems more than appropriate. We're not here to bail out people who acted violently. That's not what the party should stand for. But those who have, were nonviolent that day and have been harassed by the DOJ for years, I don't have a problem with that. But now you've got this. I don't think Fauci was going to really be anyone that Trump thought about the next 4 years. I think he wants to forget about Dr. Fauci and those ridiculous press conferences they did every single day in the spring of 2020. Remember those? I mean, those were just horrific. We ran them here on KCMO every single day. We did that.
Might need 9 vaccinations.
Yeah. Thank you, Doc. Maybe Rex Archer makes an appearance as well here in Kansas City.
Thanksgiving.
Oh,
boy, I love Thanksgiving.
Oh, boy, haven't had that guy on the air in a while. Thank goodness. So that is the breaking news here this hour. As Joe Biden gets set to head out the door, Dr. Fauci gets himself a last-minute pardon along with General Milley, Liz Cheney, the rest of the January 6th committee as well. So something to keep an eye on. Maybe there's more to come. I don't know. We'll see what he's got left. Now, speaking of MSNBC, SNL made fun of MSNBC. It was actually very funny. Saturday Night Live goofing on MSNBC over the weekend is the kind of content that I didn't think we'd get, but was actually pretty well done. It wasn't super corny. It was just well done. And it opens up with the panel sitting there led by Rachel Maddow. Not really Rachel Maddow, but here we go.
Hello and welcome to MSNBC. I'm Rachel Maddow. And dads, you better hide your older bookish lesbian daughters because, I'm back on TV. Tonight for our special Inauguration weekend coverage, I'm joined by our panel of MSNBC hosts, basically like the Avengers for your aunt. It's Ari Melber.
Thanks, Rachel.
Joy Reid.
Glad to be here.
Stephanie Rule.
Hey, girlfriend.
And finally, Chris Hayes, a.k.a. Woke Sheldon.
Okay, drag me, mama.
Oh, my gosh. I'll play more of it throughout the morning, but it actually was very well done. And my favorite part of the skit where SNL is mocking MSNBC is how they keep admitting and confusing Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow because they do kind of look like the same person. I mean, if you just do Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow side by side, there's not much of a difference there at all. And SNL just absolutely torching MSNBC, mocking Rachel Maddow as a dude in glasses is hysterical. That's the kind of stuff, like, I'm totally cool with them making fun of Trump, making fun of Republicans. There's certainly plenty of content there. All any of us on the right have asked for is comedy across the political aisle. I can laugh at Trump jokes. They're hysterical.
Right, yeah.
But those on the left, they can't laugh at jokes about their own side. And that's why SNL and so many in the comedy world have had to use kid gloves. And frankly, comedy's dead because Everyone on the left is looking for a reason to be offended. They can't just laugh at jokes that offend all of us. I can laugh at a great Trump joke. There's plenty of material to work with.
Buca de Beppo bit was a classic, right?
Yeah.
Many peas.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of bacon. They don't call it that, but it's bacon.
Yeah. I mean, there's great material. If we are in a world now where SNL is making fun of MSNBC for the next 4 years, I might just have to stay up on a Saturday night and watch it. I might get crazy back at the house on Saturday and stay up for SNL. Normally, I'm asleep by then. Oh, it is Inauguration Day. We are glad that you are spending it with us on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Donald Trump will become the president once again in 4 hours and 16 minutes. Let's go. Woo! John and Mark in the early 2000s tearing it up at the club. I can see it right now. Good morning, 8:23. It's Inauguration Day. Donald Trump is walking out of St. John's Church in Washington. He is now on his way to the White House, where he is expected to meet outgoing President Joe Biden. So we're watching that this morning on KCMO.
Nelly like Generald Wilson from St. Louis.
Yes, one of Missouri's own. That's right. So Nelly is going to perform. That's right. He's going to perform as part of the inauguration. He's going to perform at the Liberty Ball on Inauguration Day. Liberty Ball is one of the 3 official inaugural balls that will take place today. Nelly's set to perform after Donald Trump's swearing-in ceremony. My goodness. You've got Nelly. Now, I know Nelly's not top of the charts right now. I understand it's not 2003 anymore. But you've got Carrie Underwood doing America the Beautiful. You even have Snoop Dogg performing. Yes, Snoop Dogg, who 8 years ago said this about anybody who was thinking about performing for Donald Trump.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you boo ass niggas gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the out one of you Uncle Tom ass for doing it. Which one of you niggas gonna do it first? I'll be the one that performs for himself.
Wow. Okay. That was Snoop Dogg 8 years ago. Now, Snoop Dogg spent the weekend performing at the inaugural crypto ball, billed itself on the website as an event intended to honor the 60th presidential inauguration. America's first crypto president, President-elect Donald J. Trump, his incoming cabinet and administration. So was it an official Trump event? No, but I mean, the event was honoring Donald Trump as America's first crypto president. And there's Snoop Dogg probably collecting a big old fat check, and good for him. This is America. But boy, talk about a 180. Snoop Dogg suddenly involved in a Trump event, Trump-associated event. 8 years ago, after saying anybody who did that was an Uncle Tom. Huh. How about that for a 180? You've got Nelly putting out a statement. If you didn't see what Nelly said about his performance that will take place today, he said, quote, "I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because it's an honor. I respect the office. It doesn't matter who is in office. The same way our men and women, our brothers and sisters who protect this country have to go to war and have put their life on the line for whoever is in office. So if they can put their life on the line for whoever is in office, I can damn sure perform for whoever is in office. I would ask critics to show me where he's a white supremacist." What a slam dunk on the haters and the losers, as Trump would say, by Nelly. And even over the weekend, you had Bill Maher mocking anybody who was upset that Carrie Underwood was singing America the Beautiful, or anybody else of note in Hollywood who was performing in what has been a total 180 from where the inauguration of Donald Trump was 8 years ago.
Trump was already president, but it seems like the mood is very different than his first time in, because it's, you know, there's people who are mad that anybody's working with them. There are people who are mad that Carrie Underwood is singing at the inauguration. I don't know if that's an applause for Carrie Underwood. I don't know if that, yes, she's on.
I don't know why everybody's so shocked that a country music star is singing God Bless America at the presidential inauguration. But people have become so fallen in understanding that Donald Trump won, and he won again. And that has upset people. The fact that he won the first time made people real angry. The second time, they're even more upset. And now you're not supposed to be able to celebrate. At this point, let normal be normal. Let a country music singer go and sing at the inauguration. That's normal.
Or
behavior.
any singer.
Any singer. If you want to go,
I get it about Donald Trump and the things you don't like him. I don't either. But you can't hold this hostage to every other part of life, would be my view. I saw there was a picture, I think we have it here, of him with Obama at Jimmy Carter's funeral. And there's Trump making Obama laugh. I mean, a hate crime.
Good. You know, all I only want the transcripts.
That's it. That's right. And Bill Maher's had some common sense the last few months. I give credit where it's due. He's had a lot of common sense the last few months. And he continues to have it. And now you're seeing an awakening from folks in the music industry and in Hollywood who are saying, you know what, this is crazy. The guy just won the popular vote. Are you kidding me? How are you going to say this is somehow anti-American? The American people made it clear. Popular vote, electoral college landslide, game, set, match. It all starts in 2.5 hours, and I cannot wait. Jerry Moran in 15 minutes. We'll get to you on KCMO. That was last night. Capital One Arena was rocking. Say that one 10 times in a row. Capital One Arena was rocking last night in Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump held a rally the night before his inauguration. And it was a culmination of not just 4 years, but really a culmination of 8 years. Donald Trump right now is stronger than he's ever been and has more power than he's ever had during his political career. And I think history will show that Donald Trump winning in 2016 and then losing in 2020 will actually end up being the best thing for him, for the country, and for his legacy. If Donald Trump had won in 2020, here's what would have happened. He'd be leaving office right now. People would have, forget Trump derangement syndrome. There would be Trump fatigue syndrome, or even some people on the right would say, you know, Trump did a probably solid job, but whew, man, that was a lot. Now you have Donald Trump after 4 years of Joe Biden. And the reality is right now, the American people look at the job Joe Biden did and they don't like it. And that's not my opinion. Joe Biden's approval rating, as we told you last week, you look at, whether it's CNN, some of the other polling that is out there is in the mid-30s. I mean, it's historically low for a guy leaving office. People looked at Joe Biden and they said, you know what, this is really not working out for us. The last numbers we saw from CNN, 38%. Where was Donald Trump when he left office? 39%. So, and Trump, we all know how that term ended, right? There was a lot of drama at the end of January 2021. You had COVID. You had the chaos of 2020. You had, all the January 6th chaos. And Biden has a lower approval rating than Donald Trump. Jimmy Carter left office at 44%. Meantime, Donald Trump enters office with his highest approval numbers ever, 47%. He didn't hit 47% his first 4 years in office. He's got more political juice. He's got more political capital. And for him to kind of hit the reset button the last 4 years being out of office, now he goes into office with, I think, a better team around him, more focused than he's ever been. And he also has a Republican House and a Republican Senate, which you know and I know he would not have had the last 4 years. He would have just been a lame duck who wouldn't have really done much, probably would have, just had a bunch of stuff on social media that would have given MSNBC plenty of fodder. But also what you saw the last 4 years is the American people got to look at Trump, got to compare it to Biden and say, maybe that guy wasn't so bad. As much as there was, a lot of noise around it, mostly driven by the media, looking for clicks and looking for ratings, maybe it actually wasn't so bad. Dare I say, maybe it actually was pretty damn good. when you strip it all out and you get rid of some of the media manufactured storylines that were out there. Maybe it actually worked out pretty well. And getting to experience 4 years of Joe Biden in the middle of this, as much as it was painful from a foreign policy perspective and from, a domestic policy, inflation perspective, it might be the thing that actually transcends America, hopefully for the better. And that angle of all this, I don't think can be understated when you look at what the country is set to embark on today, with Donald Trump getting set to begin his second term. At 11 o'clock Central Time this morning, Kevin Keatsman is going to be broadcasting out at Ray's Cafe today. We are excited for that. We'll be out there for our watch party at 11 o'clock. And just so you know, that event is packed. It is full. If you are not on the RSVP list, I apologize, but we're not going to be able to accommodate you. And I admit it might even be tight for those of you who are on the RSVP list. It will be standing room only. So if you don't get a seat, apologies, but that's just how it goes sometimes, because we are going to be packing Ray's Cafe 250 plus strong in what should be a historic day for the country, and we are excited to see many of you out there after the show wraps up today. Kevin will be broadcasting there from 10 to 11 o'clock this morning. 913-408-7957. It's 8:40 Central Time, 9:40 on the East Coast. You have the Nebraska Choir performing inside the Capitol Rotunda right now. Of course, Donald Trump just getting done with services at St. John's Episcopal Church there in D.C. I saw that J.D. Vance just arrived at the White House a few minutes ago to Kamala Harris. I would love to be a fly on the wall for that. That's got to be a doozy right now. Here's what I bet's happening. I bet you Doug Imhoff is like trying to just do what guys do and like buddy up with JD. Be like, what's up, brother? How about that NFL game last night? Man, Mark Andrews has to make that catch, huh? And Kamala just gives him one of the all-time death stares. Doug's going to be in the doghouse for a little bit. Something tells me that him and JD are just doing what dudes do and trying to kick it. And Kamala's having none of it. That guy is going to get his butt chewed out by the end of the day.
Notre Dame or Ohio State tonight, pal.
Yeah, who you got? Yeah, I'm sure JD's got the Buckeyes. He's a Buckeye himself.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a question of does he have the Buckeyes covering the 8.5 points?
Yeah, that'll be tough.
That's going to be tough. What are you saying, Mark? You're riding with the Irish tonight?
I think I got to go Irish plus 8.5 and maybe under the point total.
What's the under?
45.5.
Ooh. And college games,
yeah.
I like riding the over. Life's too short to bet the under,
That's
Mark.
True. Might do an alt under.
Alt under, especially when you're talking about college football. You can't bet the under in college football. If you get overtime, that's a whole nother ball game. That's the thing, Mark. Be dicey. I don't like it, Mark. I don't like it. I don't like where you're going with this whole thing. But I guarantee you there's a conversation like that between Doug Imhoff and J.D. Vance. And Kamala's just going to destroy him later.
How dare you?
Oh, my gosh. But I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. 913-408-7957 as we are watching some of the pre-inauguration events taking place. We've got Joe Biden and Jill Biden. Sorry, that's Dr. Jill, set to host the Trumps for a pre-inauguration tea that is supposed to take place. How do you think Trump's enjoying that tea? I think he's going to have a good time enjoying. Yeah, I'm sure he's sipping away on that tea. Oh, my gosh. On the text line, Pete, Doug's getting spanked daily anyhow these days. Possible.
Bad hombres.
I guess. I guess. I don't know. Maybe Doug likes it. Who knows? Man, oh, man, oh, man. We got comedians on the text line. Oh, man. Pete, I can picture J.D. Vance or Trump saying, you don't have to go home, but you just can't stay here. Yeah, I'm sure that. Pete, Kamala looks testy this morning on TV. Yeah, I mean, how do you think she feels? Like when she looked over her left shoulder last week or 2 weeks ago when Jimmy Carter got buried and she saw Trump making Obama laugh. Yeah, that didn't sit well with her. I don't think it did.